Today's Happy Thriving Mums podcast is with Natalie Warde. Natalie is a professional declutterer and a KonMari consultant. This conversation is for anybody who feels that their house is completely chaotic with family life, children's things, all that stuff that you just have and you just don't know what to do. Natalie explains how the KonMari method can help you create calm amongst the chaos and make sure that so much of what is in your house sparks joy for you every single day. It's a great conversation. I hope you enjoy listening. Hello and welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast, the show that talks about the challenges women face whilst navigating motherhood and perimenopause. Family life is often far from perfect, but this podcast aims to help mums reconnect with themselves, find the magic amongst the mess, and offer simple ways to prioritise their own health, fitness and well-being to allow them to truly thrive. And it doesn't stop there. This show also includes amazing stories from remarkable women who help others to be the best version of themselves and dare you to truly believe that your dream life is available to you. Because it is. We only get one life. There'll be incredible moments and challenging ones, but how we choose to show up matters. So grab a coffee or a tea, take a moment for yourself, and let's navigate this journey together. Hello Natalie, a very warm welcome to the Happy Thriving Mums podcast. I am delighted to have you here this morning.
Well, thanks for having me. Really excited about it.
Great. Right, I'm going to start, as I start every episode with a guest, with the school run pitch. So, you are at the school gate, you just dropped off your kids, and you're about to run off to wherever it is you're going next, whether it's a meeting, a client, whatever it is, but someone taps you on the shoulder and just says, oh, what is it that you do again? What would you say?
I'm a professional declutterer and organiser, and I'm also a certified KonMari consultant. I help busy families, mainly mums, that feel a bit overwhelmed with clutter, to create calm, organised homes, and helping them to manage a bit better. So hopefully life is less overwhelming. I think it's whether there's overflowing toys, you might have a chaotic wardrobe, stressful kitchens. I do try and advocate the reset, which is quite nice because it's something that's quite small, which means that you have maybe an area that you can sort of reset end of an evening. But obviously it depends on what your needs are as far as tidying and decluttering are concerned. I love doing a tidy festival, which is the KonMari method. And so whether it's the KonMari method that you're going to be using, well, I will be using that, but whether it's the tidy festival or whether it's just one of these SOSs, I call them, which is sort one space, the idea is that you think about the items you have, what sparks joy, what you can discard with gratitude, and then the idea is that, and it's not the idea, it definitely makes you feel a little less overwhelmed, more calm. It's not about perfection. It's basically creating homes that support people, and they basically bring you more joy.
I think I need you to come around to my house and literally sort out my whole house.
Oh, I'd love to.
I think that is such an amazing thing because I just think when you're a mum, when you've got kids, inevitably things start to accumulate, and then it's almost like one moment you wake up and you look around your house and you're like, I'm not really sure what's happened here, but it's just like an absolute sea of plastic. Personally, I find it really, really overwhelming. I hate tidying and sorting. So to have someone come around and support me doing that would actually be kind of like a bit of a dream, really.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of it is to help people create more of a calm environment, because it's linked loads to your well-being. You've got stuff around you. I know people have different capacities of coping with it, but I think a lot of people will find that if their space is feeling cluttered, they are less calm. It's really hard to deal with. It's hard to make decisions as well sometimes when you've got all this stuff around you. So the idea is that you create more of a calm environment, help to reduce the mental load. I think it really helps with that. I always think it gives back some time as well, because you're not, do you find yourself trying to find things, find it difficult to find things? And I think if you have got more of a tidy, calm environment, it does give back a little bit more time. I certainly know, I'm advocating file folding at the moment, which is KonMari method, but the idea is that you fold vertically. And I think for us in the morning, like my daughter can just go, yep, pull that out, with school uniform, or they're in sports kit the next couple of weeks because of the temperature. But she can just go and help herself and get herself dressed. Nothing's lost. It's all there. You can see everything. So yeah, it is definitely, it depends on the person, but I think for most people, having a nice calm space where you can get rid of stuff, and I'm not saying get rid of everything, but the idea is that you have things around you that spark joy, that bring joy to you, that you really love, and you know where things are.
I think there's two things to pick out that just spoken to me there is like this the first idea of kind of it's almost like a calm environment gives you a calm mind, right? So if you're
Yeah.
living in chaos, it also doesn't just clutter up your house, it actually clutters your way of being, your energy, and kind of it makes things just seem harder to deal with. So that's the first thing. But the second thing that I really love, the idea, which I don't think is linked to all decluttering, is it? But the idea of it sparking joy. So can you
Yeah.
talk on that a little bit more?
Yeah, so it's advocated by, I keep using the word advocate, it's my favourite word today, obviously, but with the KonMari method, the way of making decisions about your items is that you hold them in your hand. So I've got my headphones here, I'm going to hold them in my hand. I probably wouldn't do this first because they would be under kimono, but I'll go into the sections, the different categories in a minute. I'd hold it in my hand and I'd say, does this spark joy or not? And I think for me, it does spark joy. It's quite functional, but I do love them and I use them a lot, and they're very, very necessary, or they're a necessity to my life at the moment. So yeah, so I'd keep that. But if I had something, I haven't got anything around me, but if I had something that I thought was so actually, do you know, I've got something here. Does spark joy though. Right, this is Tabby's. She wrote me a card. This is sentimental. So I'll tell you the category. So the idea with the sparking joy is you hone your skills. And then anything you don't want, you discard with gratitude. You thank the item. Thank you. Thanks for serving me, but I no longer need you. You can go as elaborate as you like on that, but it does feel really good because then you are at least acknowledging the things that you are discarding. The categories for the KonMari method. So the idea is you start with your wardrobe, then you go on to books, then you go on to papers, so any paperwork. Then there's kimono, which is all the miscellaneous stuff, so which was like that, or things like stationery, those sorts of things. And it could be things like your, I don't know, things in your airing cupboard, that sort of thing. But the idea is that you then sort of discard those as well. You're honing the skills of the sparking joy. And then the last one is a sentimental, which would probably be this actually. So I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't recommend doing this first, but it's very cute. You know, inside, I mean, it says, I love you so, so much. Love from Tabby and Jonas. So I probably would, at the moment, I probably would keep this. But you never know. In a few years' time, I might have loads of these and I might be in that space where I can, you know, sort of go, right, does this spark joy anymore? It is gorgeous. Thank you, Tabby. I had 20 of them, but I'm going to discard with gratitude. Thank you very much. Okay, put it in recycling. Don't know if you can recycle metallic stickers, but you know.
There you
But
go.
yeah, that's the idea. So the sparking joy really is just things that spark joy around you, things that you love. I am quite sentimental, so I think I do get people saying to me, "Is your house really minimalist? Do you have nothing in your house?" I'm like, "Absolutely not. It's the opposite, really, because I do like things. I'm quite sentimental. I have things that belong to my parents recently downsized, and so there are a couple of things that I took off their hands, you know, things that I just thought, oh, I love this. There's like a sugar bowl from my great grandma. My mum loves glasses, so I've got a set of glasses from her. But you know, it's just it is really what you feel, you know, sort of the kind of how it sparks joy for you. It's very personal, but the idea is that you don't have to be a minimalist, I think, as long as you have places to put things as well. So you've got to think about your space too. Yeah.
Wow. So there is obviously because it's a method, isn't it? The KonMari
Yeah.
method. So going through, you said starting with clothes.
Yeah.
Is there a significance in the order of which is suggested to approach things?
Yeah, I think it's because it's easier to make decisions about those items before you get to the next one, if that makes sense. So the idea is that you are honing the skills. You start with your clothes. I mean, there may be some people out there who are very close to, you know, sort of sentimental about clothes, but generally I would say it's the easiest category because you can just go through them and you can go by things like fit, how it suits you, those sorts of things. And yeah, so the idea of that is as you go through the categories, it gets a little bit easier, well, not easier, harder, I was going to say, from the categories, but because you have done it from the beginning, it's easier to make those decisions.
Like the experience, I guess, and you're learning.
Yeah, absolutely. You just get
Yeah.
better at decision making. I think that's it. And also I find once we've done some form of tidying, because of the clarity it brings, for lots of other things in your life, people find it a bit easier to make decisions on. It's really interesting how it can sort of spark that as well, your own decision making for other things in your life, because you just become a little bit more decisive about the things you own.
That's so interesting. So, with the Tidy Festival, which is one of the services I know that you offer, is that involving everything from the start all the way through? So, you basically go through the house, the belongings, starting with the clothes, ending with the sentimental items. And then at
Yeah.
the end of it, hopefully, you look around and you've got all the things which are then sparking joy in your life.
Yeah, that's right. So if we were to do a tidy festival, I mean, I do. I mean, I also go with what the client wants. So you might get someone. I'm starting a playroom tomorrow, so there's a client who wants me to sort the playroom out. She's just moved house, so she just wants all the toys slightly decluttered. She's going to be with me and then organised. So I am doing one category or one room, which isn't necessarily advised by Conrique. She likes to do the categories, which it does really work. 'Cause the idea is that then you don't have to do it again. You might have to keep on top of it, but you don't necessarily have to do it again. But yes, the Tidy Festival will be going through all those categories if you're sticking to the KonMari method.
That's really interesting because then that was going to be my next question because I think, again, as a mum, you look at, well, I've just done my kitchen. Well, I say I've done my kitchen. I've had a good go at trying to sort my kitchen and
Yeah.
it's made a big difference. And I am completely generally against tidying things and throwing things out, especially. I tidy all the time, sorry, that's not quite right. But throwing stuff out I find so, so difficult. But I did it. And
Mm.
actually, as you said, the clarity, the peace it has now given me just to look around and not feel completely overwhelmed by it all. But for me, the areas which are the toughest are actually the lived in areas, the ones where my children are. Because they don't
Mm.
care about tidying, no matter how much I say to them, can you tidy that away? Can you put that away? They are literally like going through things, trying to find what they want. When they found it, they played with it for a bit, then they get distracted and they go somewhere else. So, how do
Yeah.
you, if you are somebody who wants to have this lovely, joyful environment where you can feel at home, you can feel calm, you can feel that everything is just like in its place, but yet you have these little creatures, or your partner as well, there
Hmm.
disrupting it, have you got any tips or ideas on how you can manage that situation? Because I'm sure I'm not alone in the in this kind of
Yeah,
way of life.
absolutely. So I would say from my own experience, I've got two children. I've got a 5 and 7 year old, and you're right, they do take everything out. They love to trail things around the house. You find things in random places. I mean, take yesterday because it was a Sunday. My children like to take stuff out of the playroom. They have a playroom, but they're not playing in the playroom. They bring it into the living room, and there was stuff everywhere. But the idea is that they might take stuff out. And I don't want to stop them from playing. I don't want to be that parent that's like, no, no, that's got to go back right now. Sorry, you're making a mess. I'm happy for them to make a mess. I'm happy for them to play and just be themselves, be kids. But what we have at the end of the day is a reset. So in my house, everything has a place. And I do get my children involved, and I have done since they were quite young. And I know that's not the easiest thing to implement or if you haven't done it. So it isn't the easiest thing to implement if you haven't, but it's amazing how quickly they can get it. I think because they're kids, they're very good at picking up on things. And so we have this 10-minute reset at the end of every evening. And what will happen is they'll just take the things they have, put them back where they came from. We quite often have a few things on the stairs as well. So whilst we're doing showers and whatever, because we've got a downstairs shower that they use. Um, and then they do that. And then on the way up to bedtime, they take their stuff with them and put it back in their rooms. And I'm not saying their rooms are the most tidy either, because there's only certain things that you can say to your children to make them tidy. I mean, they do. My daughter's really good. She's very incentivized, so she does like having a good old tidy if she knows she's going to get a reward. But that's
Definitely.
how. But that's how we've. I think that's how we've done it as well, because we have these stars. We have these stars that you put in a jar. Well, it's not a jar. One's a cloud. One's a rocket. But I think that has incentivized my children quite heavily, like from quite early on. And but the reset is just something we just do. So I think for us, that really works. Things have a place, everything has a place, and so they know where to return it to. And then everything hopefully looks the same as it did in the morning. And
Yeah.
I think for us it does. It's good, but it is getting that there, isn't it? Sort of getting them to be reading from the same hymn sheet as you. And And it isn't always easy. Sometimes they just don't want to do it. And I'm just like, come on, guys, we've got 10 minutes. We used to do the timer. The timer's really good. We had this tidy up song that Tabby used to have at nursery. So we'd put it on the Alexa and she'd be like, oh, yeah, tidy up Rumba. Let's go, let's go. And so she'd tidy according to that. Um, but yeah, so I think, I mean, it's not always easy. And there will be days when there is a mess and you don't feel like it. You know, you might think, I don't really have the energy for this. So, you know, you got to be easy on yourself as well, but eventually it will happen. And I'm just my biggest advice is really have a place for everything. And then the reset. I love a reset.
Yeah, the reset sounds really good. And actually, 10 minutes doesn't really sound a lot, does it? Like in the whole scheme of the
No.
day, just to say, right, guys, 10 minutes, let's try and do this. But
Yeah.
I think the realistic aspect of it, as you mentioned, was it won't happen all the time. You can't get everyone to do it all the time, and that's fine. You just start again tomorrow, I guess, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't put pressure on yourself. But I think if you've got the initial things implemented, so for example, where things go, you know where things go, you know, then it's okay, isn't it? I think advice on things like kitchens, I quite often clear my space there so that in the morning you wake up and I know everyone's different, but it is nice to come down to a clear kitchen, isn't it?
Mm.
So that's, I would say, for me, that's one of the things that I always have to do.
I think especially because the kitchen is often the heart of the home, isn't it? And it's where
Yeah.
you start your day. You start your day. You get breakfast. You
Mm.
get sorted. And I think we've got like a biggish kitchen with a dining room table in it as well. So that's where we eat. That's where the kids play. There's a lot going on in the kitchen, and I think
Yeah.
you've got one space which is like kind of reset, as you said, and
Yeah.
actually it makes quite a big difference, doesn't it? So
And
how?
yours is quite a multi-purpose space, isn't it? I think that's it. It's sort of I think for most of us, because of the way our homes are, it ends up being, as you say, the heart of the home, isn't it? Because we've got a dining table, so I'm sitting at it now, which is, yeah, I mean, before dinner, we just like, right, everyone, take everything off that you need that, you know, that can be put away. Tabby's been doing colouring or painting, or she's been making hair bands or something, and just clear the table. But yeah, absolutely.
Scoop it to one
Yeah.
side. Daily scoop. But yeah, so how did you get into the KonMari method? When did you first hear about it? What made you fascinated by it?
Yeah, that's a good point. So, I was trying to do a little timeline actually of when I did get into it. Hang on a sec, I have got the timeline. I thought it was a couple of years ago that I started Tidy Happy People, but actually, I read, I think it was 2016. I read Life Changing Magic of Tidying, which is KonMari's book, and I think that was off the back of seeing her in a newspaper or something like that. I don't know, but I think I've always been tidy. I didn't when I was younger, I used to like to have everything in its place. So I am naturally like that. And then when I went to university, you know, people have sort of like their rooms are messy. I had stuff. I did like stuff. So that's where I kind of maybe sort of changed a little bit, where I just sort of make sure that all my stuff is purposeful and it sparks joy. But everything did have a place. You know, I had a quite immaculate room, in the sense that I like to keep it tidy. So yeah, I wasn't a chuck it. I wasn't a floor drobe kind of person, like my husband. Um, yeah. So it's yeah, it was definitely something that I really enjoyed doing early on. You know, I'm naturally like that. But that was about 2016. And then around 2017, I think I decided, or maybe it's 2016 actually, after reading the book, I think I read them, the first one I read in a day. I couldn't put it down. I was like, this is amazing. I just really love the principles and the philosophy of it all. And I just thought, wow, that's amazing. So, that was off the back. So the reason why I did it in my own home as well is that we relocated for my job, and so we were living around the Reading at well Newbury, and we were renting it first, and we had this garage, and in the garage there was lots of stuff left over from our wedding. So we got married in 2015. So that's a year later. We had sweet jars because we had a sweet cart. We had garlands. I was still keeping the table numbers with like little pictures on and stuff. Just a box of it. And they're very sentimental actually, but I was just like, "Do you know what? Why are we keeping this?" So I had a bit of a purge and just sold stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And then when we moved to a new build, it was pristine, you know, and everything's just beautiful in it. I thought, right, this is it. I have to do the KonMari here. So I did it. I didn't do it before. So there is advice, like if you are moving home, it is good to do it before. But I actually did it when we got there. So did the method, and it was just amazing. I loved being able to find everything. Really enjoyed just the space and the clarity it gave me. And then after that, we were there for a few years. We were there, yeah, a few years. And then my husband during COVID, well, it was just before COVID. I had Jonah, so I had my son, and he was little, but it was great. I mean, you do find you have more stuff, but we did have space for more stuff, so that was great. You know, our kitchen was a little bit like yours, where we had a little toy area everywhere in our house. Because again, being a new build, everything was very kind of exact, and there wasn't as much space as sort of other properties. But I did have areas where he could play. So there was a little bit in the living room, and there was a little bit in the kitchen. But everything had a basket and everything had a place, so that was nice. Then my husband, he went for an interview in a school in Dorset, so we were living, as I said, in Berkshire, and he got the job, and that was just before sort of COVID hit. So then there was the whole thing of, we're going to move house, we're going to move to Dorset. I was like, oh god, okay. Um, and I was also pregnant as well with Tabby, so that was all going on. And I think for anyone who has done the KonMari method, if you are moving house, it just makes it so much easier to pack things away, to label things. That was really good. I know we still have a lot of stuff, but the idea is that things were organised. So when we did get to then the new place, it was really, really easy to sort of unpack and find places for things because they were all together. So the categories were all together still. I think the only challenge was when we moved to our house when we were in Dorset, we were living on site of the school for a couple of years. And the house that we lived in had absolutely no storage. So it was very interesting because we went for having a garage. But then I guess part of that was really good because then we thought, what do we need actually? And there were things that you could then have another little bit of a purge on what you did and didn't need. But all the while I was doing the KonMari method. So even when I had a little bit less space, I still had areas and places to put things. So that was really good. And then we moved again. We bought a house. So we bought a house in Dorset, and we're sort of Bournemouth way. And it's a lovely house. And it, again, the move was a lot easier, and everything's KonMari'd. So everything is in its place. We know where things are. And yeah, so that was great. So for me, it was peace of mind. It didn't cause any overwhelmment, which does happen when you're moving house. I think that was one big thing, that it didn't really create that overwhelmment that I've had in the past. When we moved from, before we moved to Reading area, we were living in East Berkshire. And I did go from a flat, but I had a lot of stuff with my mum and dad. My mum's like, well, you can take your stuff now, because you're going from a flat to living in a house. But yeah, I think it's the lack of overwhelmment. It was brilliant. So no overwhelmment, it felt really calm. And it does still take time, doesn't it, to put things in places. But for me, it definitely helps me make decisions with the clarity. People I've worked with as well, they definitely sort of have that decision. It helps with decision making. And I have had people who then have, like later on, they've gone for things. They've made big steps in their lives because then the house is feeling really nice and calm, and they have the clarity to make those decisions or move forward. So I think that's really cool. Yeah.
That is really cool, and it's really interesting, isn't it? To give yourself space to create clarity.
Yeah.
And as you said, like taking that in a way that it's not just having a nice tidy house and having things put away nicely and you can find them.
Yeah.
Creating space for those bigger life decisions as well is actually,
Yeah.
I imagine,
Absolutely.
a big part
Yeah.
of the philosophy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I didn't finish my story. Where was I? So, um, last year, I did an ABDO course. So it was the Association of the Professional Decluttering Organisers. I think it was 22, and that's when I started Tidy Happy People. I just thought, right, I'm going to give it a go because I was helping other people. Then I sort of went and helped my mum and dad clear their loft. My sister had moved to Rains Park and just helped her with the utility room. Was helping friends with wardrobe, that sort of thing. And I thought, I actually love this. And I had been getting emails from the Maria Kondo course for quite a long time, never quite the right moment. And then everything just aligned last year, and it was coming to London as well, because a lot of them are online. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So last year I did the course so that I was a certified KonMari consultant. We have to do a bit of training first, and you have to do a little exam, but over a few months, then I was qualified. Yeah, and it's brilliant.
Oh, amazing. So you're now an official KonMari consultant,
That's right, yeah.
and you started your business, Tidy Happy People.
That's right, yeah.
And what drew you to start the business? What's the goal?
Yeah, I think, we keep going back to sparking joy, but actually it brings me so much joy. I think I've probably got, I have got the temperament for it, because I don't think it's for everyone, but I just find it really calming. I just absolutely love helping other people as well. Find that calm too. I don't get overwhelmed by it, so I seem to have this capacity for it when I'm doing it, and just it's absolutely amazing. It makes you feel brilliant. It makes me feel brilliant, but also how it makes other people feel as well. So yeah, that's why I've started it. I want to help other people feel the same way, and also it really does help with wellness. I think a lot of people can gain a lot from it. Yeah,
I think that's so fascinating, and I think it must be quite nice doing something which has got a definitive start point, and
yeah,
then after the work that you do with the individual, there's a very definitive end point, and the difference that you must see between the two must just be
yeah.
unreal.
It's so satisfying. It is. It's amazing. I worked with, it was one of my colleagues actually. She was moving house, so her family circumstances had changed for the good actually, and she was then entering into sort of her next phase of life where she was going to be starting, well, not starting, but she was going to be in a blended family, looking for a new home, and she was putting her house on the market. And she'd been there a long time. She just had this conservatory area where it was sort of, I would say, it was the dumping ground, but it was, as you say, the heart of the house because it was the kitchen leading into the conservatory. And it was the sort of thing that if you had a photographer coming round, you couldn't really avoid that. It was like the conservatory was another room, but we cleared it. Never seen so many large spiders in my life. If I'm wearing gloves and I have a Hoover nearby, I'm all good. Sorry for anyone who loves spiders. But we just cleared the area and it looked amazing. Then we could also reconfigure the room because she had like this kitchen island that was just sitting there, and it would have been, you just needed to swap it around from where the dining table was. It just looked wonderful, and then actually, in the pictures when you see them afterwards. So it does help with like house moves and things like that as well. But yeah, the feeling afterwards, she was just like, can't believe that. And even myself as well, I was just like, wow, look at that. What a transformation. So it is, you just feel it. It's a feeling. You just sort of go, that is so satisfying. It makes you feel good. Sparks joy.
That's so interesting because I think the other thing which can be a bit overwhelming is not just the physicality of the stuff, then the not really knowing what to do with it, but I think sometimes you can't see the wood from the trees. So
Yeah.
the way that you, as maybe an independent person going into somebody's home, you don't see it as what it is, and I'm sure you must be able to see more potential with maybe the space or where the furniture is or all of these things, which allows a kind of it's just a different viewpoint, isn't it? Because I think
Yeah.
you're looking at the same thing again and again and again and again. You
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes you do need that encouragement. You need the encouragement, you need the support. And so that's the idea. You find, like you said, can't see the wood from the trees. You need that sort of help to just sort of go, right, what have I got? What is this all about? Because I've just been looking at this sea of stuff. You get someone else in, like myself, can help you just see like where it could go, what the potential is of somewhere, what sparks joy for you, what you need to keep. And I think that's another one as well, because it's really hard to make those decisions. Same with the KonMari, method with the sort of honing the skills. But I think sometimes, occasionally you do need someone else to help you out with that. I've got an example, another example. So some grandparents who had lots of toys that belonged to their children and they were keeping them, just couldn't make the decisions on what to keep and what not. And so then you have to ask questions. There are prompting questions. I would never be pushy, but it might be like, when was that last played with? Who would play with that now? So there were some toys there that were very babyish, and like their grandchildren were growing, they weren't grown up yet. They're sort of age 7 and above, and would they play with that? No, they wouldn't. Do you think you're going to have any more grandchildren? No, I don't think we are. So it's sort of asking questions like that, sort of gentle questions that help people make decisions as well. So you might need a little bit of a prompt, but yeah, it's a gentle prompt.
oh, you just described my mum there. She's literally got everything from when we were children, and now she's got
Actually,
4 grandchildren as well. And again, they've all grown. Well, the youngest one is now 7, and there's so much of the stuff. I'm
yeah,
terrified of their loft. I can only imagine
really,
what's in there.
yeah,
Yeah, but it is that because I think that sentimental thing is huge, isn't it? Really, that kind of
yeah.
like just
It's really hard to part with things. It is, as I was saying, I'm quite sentimental at times. I've got better since doing the KonMari method, but you always will have a birthday. You always have that lovely card that your your mum has written in, or there's someone close to you, and it's not a crime to keep it. It's fine. I think as long as you know where it is, you keep these things together. And also, I would advocate sort of a place where you can access it rather than shoving it up in the loft. You can go back to these things, you can look at them, they will spark joy again for you.
I think that's really lovely. It reminded me of a story when I did have a clear out not so long ago of all my children's paintings, and
Yeah.
I put them in the wheelie bin outside my house. And then a bit later, my sister came round and she was like, "Oh, you never guess what? There's like paintings all down the road." And my wheelie bin had fallen over, and literally, probably about 100 pictures had blown out of my wheelie bin and gone a good 100 metres down my road. And then me and my sister were like trying to
Yeah.
pick them up from everyone's gardens. And I mean, looking back, it's quite funny. That's sparking joy, but I was
Yeah,
like,
I
I'm
mean the
trying
panic though.
to.
They were saying we're free now, we're free.
Yeah, there's sparking joy
That
for
was their
everybody else.
that was their last hurrah.
Couldn't believe it. I was like, this can't be my life. But it really is.
What are the chances?
Oh, I know, freak weather, crazy. But anyhow.
But that's it. We've had that where Tabby will find something. She's very much an artist where she does different versions of the same thing. So it's almost like an art exhibition, where they have like different versions until they find the perfect version. They've done these little sketches.
Yeah,
So I thought, oh, there's no harm in getting rid of the first few where she hasn't coloured them in or whatever.
yeah.
Pop them in recycling. And then later on, so I give my kids jobs. Tabs, can you put that in the recycling? And then she comes back really, you know what I found? I found my pictures in the recycling.
How did they
Right.
get there? What happened? Oh God, it's those
Then you
moments
have to
you get
broach that
caught.
one.
Yeah, you get caught out, don't you? And you're like, oh, change the subject, move on.
And that's another thing with the KonMari method, actually. So it is okay to do your children's stuff, but she does advise that from the age of 7, they are making their own decisions. I would say my daughter's 5, and she is, to be fair. She definitely knows what she likes and what she doesn't. But it is from the age of about 7 to do the toy sorting and that kind of thing, or their belongings. They are their belongings. So the idea is as well, you don't do someone else's. You respect that. You need to make sure that they're either there with you or you have got their permission. It's generally them with you, actually. Yeah.
That's really interesting. It
Yeah.
makes sense, doesn't it? Because otherwise you're impacting someone else's life, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's not fair. So you've already mentioned you've got your 2 lovely children. So how do you find working your business around your kids?
Yeah, I mean, it got a little bit easier. So I have 2 days off a week, so the rest of the time I am a teacher. Um, but I do have a couple of days off a week, and then also have the summer holidays. And so that is a real help to be able to do the summer holidays. And both my children are at school now. So last year, or Tabby's in reception. So last year it was a little bit more difficult. I did have some jobs in school holidays, but it was difficult to find the time during term time. But now it's really great because I've got these 2 days off that I can fit in tidying sessions and then go and pick them up afterwards. So yeah, it is a juggle though. It can be. I think it's also sort of compartmentalizing things as well. When you have a couple of things on the go, just making sure that you aren't getting overwhelmed by that as well. So yeah, I'd say keeping organized with that. It's not always the easiest. I think one of my favorite things in our house is our whiteboard. We've got a whiteboard that's in our kitchen, and I just put the days of the week on it and what everyone's doing, and that really helps as well. So it's very functional. We have our whiteboard pens. Sometimes the kids draw things on there. I'm just like, hang on a minute, what's that say? You've drawn a star next to it. Hang on, what is? But yeah, those sorts of things. Just sort of organising myself. So making sure that I'm organised in that sense as well, knowing what's going on and what days I'm doing things, preparing myself mentally as well for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it? Because the logistics of managing your household and your children and your job and your other job, like there's a lot going on there,
Yeah.
isn't there? So I think
Yeah.
what you can do to try and keep yourself kind of centered throughout it is
Absolutely.
is really, really important. And this moves on really nicely to talking about you. And obviously, we know that as a mum, as a woman, there was so much going on all the time. It can feel quite challenging, but
Yeah.
really, in the long run, we want to have joy in our life, as you've been talking about so beautifully
Yeah.
today, and we want to be able to try and thrive in the storm. So, what kind of things do you do to help yourself thrive?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have those little moments when you give yourself time. So I know it's so difficult and it's really hard to just go, right, step out of it. But you know, moments when you give yourself time. Yesterday, I made myself this lovely latte. It was a cinnamon and honey latte. I got given this book which had lots of. It's really brilliant actually. I've got it here. Yeah, it's really nice. But I haven't made any of the recipes yet. But it's the self-care cookbook. And there's just some drinks and stuff in there as well. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to take 10 minutes out. I was with the kids. The kids were just playing. They were keeping themselves occupied. But I gave myself a moment, just got myself a nice latte, go and drink that and just have a moment. So that was really good. So, you know, there are moments. So if you can't get any time, just give yourself maybe 5, 10 minutes to just step out of it at times. I know it's not easy. Other things I like doing, I like to go spinning. So on my days off, if I'm not doing, I haven't got a tidy client in the morning, I'll go and go to a spinning class. That's always fun. I love music, so I used to be a singer in a past life, and I still do some gigs, so I still do that. And again, they'll be on the weekend. And that's another thing as well. So that's another part of my life is where I, you know, go and do gigs as well. So it does spark joy for me. It keeps me mentally well, I would say, you know, being able to express myself through singing and music. So it's great. What else do I do? I mean, I have to say, the other day I thought I had some glasses that my mum, again, talking about my mum's glasses, she gave me loads. And we'd had a moment where I said, have I used them in the last year? Actually, my mum's going to be watching this afterwards, so I shouldn't say. But I was just like, I think maybe I can donate those now. Sorry, mum. Because we hadn't used them and we had about, I don't know, 15 wine glasses, you know. So I think it was that point where you just think, actually, I think I'm ready to let go. So that's another thing. I do actually like tidying for well-being as well. Every so often I just go and tidy something. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be ingrained in me. But yeah, it is really important to give yourself those moments. I still go and get my eyebrows done. And for me, that's one of the things that I've done forever. You know, I just go and get my eyebrows waxed. And I just think that's a moment of me just stepping out, being on my own. I mean, every so often when Tabs was still in nursery or when I was looking after her on my Wednesdays and Thursdays, I would take her with me, but I was still lying there and, you know, having something done. So, but now not so. So that's good. But, you know, giving yourself those moments for a bit of self-care. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is so important, isn't it? And I think as your children do get older, it becomes that little bit easier just to be able to, as you said, just take your 10 minutes to go and drink your delicious coffee that you've made for yourself. Whereas
Yeah,
when they're teeny tiny, and literally if you don't watch them for less than a second, they might be in a cupboard somewhere or falling down the
absolutely. Yeah.
stairs or whatever. I think you can then start doing it more so when they are also around, but actually can be really
Yeah.
game changing to just take those 10 minutes just to give yourself a little breather.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think other things as well. So once they've gone to bed, I that little time there, and I don't wish away my day, but it is a nice moment, you know, once they're in bed. Um at the moment, I've got myself really into crystals, so I've been I've been sort of trying some meditation with crystals, and that's really nice. So of an evening, I do something like that, you know. So a meditation or some kind of journaling. I really like a bit of journaling as well. So yeah, I think those little moments are really important.
Yeah, so I think just to sum it all up, I think everything that you do is just, it's about sparking joy. It's about taking things which can be, well, in some ways challenging, because I know the mess for me can be really challenging, but taking all
Mhm.
of those things, realizing what is joyful for you, knowing, and I loved the what you said earlier about being grateful for it. So saying thank
Yeah,
you for the role it's kind of played in your life, and then
yeah,
letting it go, whether that's into the
yeah,
home or to a charity shop or to
yeah.
somebody else so that they can enjoy it too,
Mhm.
sounds just like such a much nicer way of actually clearing your space rather than just being a bit
Yeah.
like, oh, let's get rid of that, let's get rid of that. So that's lovely. So I always kind of end with my guests just suggesting ways that you have any advice or any things that you think that people might like to try at home which could help them thrive. And it can be linked to KonMari, decluttering, or just go and buy a beautiful crystal or whatever that you have that you'd like to share.
Yeah, I would say stop aiming for perfection in your home. Okay, so try and create a home though that supports you. So I think that is definitely something that I would advise. I know it's not the easiest, but trying to get some systems in place so you have things like the reset, and it does make life a little bit easier, and involving other people in that as well. You're not alone with it. So whether that's you get someone like myself, or you impart this onto your family and they can help you out as well, especially with the reset. I say prioritize joy every day. Try and do something or have something that sparks joy. So just that little moment. So we are always, I would say, mums are definitely on the bottom of the priority list. It's really hard to sort of get out of that, isn't it? Because you know there's so many other people that you're taking care of and you have to think for. So I think just finding something every day that fills your cup. So it might be a little walk, it might be listening to music, that coffee I said earlier, just a little bit of me time, which is not the easiest. But I would say sometimes even just, I sometimes when my living room's nice and tidy, which after a reset it will be, I might just go and sit in it and just have a little breath. And that actually is lovely as well. So just having those little moments like that. And I think just let go of the guilt. You have items. It's really like I just mentioned my mum's glasses, but you have items. You might have a present that's been given to you or something that you're still holding on to. And I think it's okay letting go of the guilt. So whatever it is, we hold on to guilt, whether it's possessions, expectations, the pressure we put on ourselves, the mum guilt. Just go easy on yourself. Give yourself permission to let go of those sorts of things, whether it's an item or whether it's just how you feel. So give yourself a moment for that. Yeah.
So it's let go of perfection. Give yourself,
Yeah.
give
So a
yourself
home that
joy.
absolutely a home that supports you. So let go of the perfection, but something that supports you. Prioritize a bit of joy every day in your life and try and let go of some of the guilt.
Yeah, I think if we all tried to do that every single day, we'd be flying, wouldn't we?
Yeah. It's not
Really,
always, some days are better than others, right?
definitely, definitely, definitely. And is there anything that's coming up for you that you'd like to share? Like if you were doing anything or for
Yeah, I mean, I've got at the moment I'm working on my mailing list, sending out tidy happy tips. So that's something you can find on my website. So it's tidyhappypeople.com, and you can join my mailing list there. So the idea is that I'm going to be giving out. I've done one recently, which is five calm steps. So it's so you might get some tips and things from there. And just follow me on Instagram as well, so Tidy Happy People, and Facebook as well, so you can see what's going on. But always popping things on there that help inspire, whether it's a video of how to fold a t-shirt or just things that help create joy in my life that might inspire other people.
And I can attest to that because I've seen Natalie's file folding reel that she made on
Mm.
Instagram, and she made it look so simple, and the end result it looks so beautiful. So I think I need to have a little bit of file folding as well as other things in my
Do you
life.
file? Do you file? Are you a pile or a file?
Depends. It
Yeah.
depends where I'm at in the week and the time that I'm available. But I do
Yeah.
file fold for packing for holidays. That's my sort
Yeah.
of suitcase. I always do that, but just not so much at home, and especially the kids stuff. I'm just like, oh, just put that in there. It's fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I'm going to try. I will try. So
Yeah.
I will put all of that in the show notes so that people can find you and contact you and join
Yeah.
you. So Natalie, thank you so much for being a guest today. It's been lovely hearing
Oh.
all about what you do, the Common Room method, and your ideas to help mums thrive. So thank you so much for being a
Oh.
lovely guest.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Thank you.